Hi, this is James, and I'm here with the Oracle Outlook for the week starting August the 28th, 2017. This week I wanted to work with a deck that I haven't touched in quite some time, so the deck that's going to be assisting me for this week's reading is the Hermes Playing Card Oracle deck. It is by Robert M. Place, and it is published by Hermes Publications. So I have the deck right here on hand. I'm going to take a few moments to shuffle it, and as I shuffle the cards for each one of these weekly general readings, my intention and question is always, what do we need to know for the week ahead? Feeling one more time will be great. And now I'm going to go ahead and cut the deck. And now fan the cards out. And I'm feeling inclined to do a line of 5 like I did with last week's Tarot Playing Card Oracle reading. So I'm looking for 5 cards in the line that are getting my attention. And that was quick and easy. So I have the 5 cards, so I'm going to pick up the remainder of the deck and put it aside. Now I have the 5 cards laid out in front of me, and as I always do with a line of 5, I always start with the middle card. For me, the middle card represents what I consider to be the central issue possibly, or what we're being asked to focus on for the week coming up. So here we have, the 5 of Spades. So the 5 of Spades is a card. For me, when I work with playing cards, I tend to read the suit emblem first. So Spades is always, for me, about problems, challenges, obstacles that we are moving through. The 5 is a number of change, so there could be some sort of a problem that we are being asked to work on creating some change around. When a spade card for me falls in the middle of the line, it represents a problem that's active and that we are working on solving it or resolving it to some degree. So it could be, again, going with the 5 for me represents change, but it can also represent activity. So it could be like, sometimes it's about being hands-on. So for some people, it could be something that they have to make a decision about because spades can represent mental activity. But it could also be for some people that they may actually have to roll up their sleeves and get their hands in it in order to change the situation. Now, from a challenging standpoint, remember I said spades are about challenges. For some people, they may be having to either, and this could be either literal or it could be metaphorical. Sometimes this card can represent a separation or a divorce. So it could be the idea about, like, what do you need to separate yourself from or divorce yourself from, and that could be people, but it could also be about environments and situations and circumstances, right? So it could be like the situation has become more problematic than it needs to be for you. Like it's a problem that's no longer serving your best and highest good. It's the way it's coming to me. And so you have to make some changes around that. And so sometimes this card represents like taking the action step to either divorce ourselves from something or separate ourselves from something. But this card usually represents divorce or separation for me. Sometimes this card could be about like, going with the idea of divorce or separation. You just get to a place where you just have to kind of just walk away. And so sometimes with that, because I'm seeing a different image in my head, that makes me feel like it's a matter of, walking away. It's like, it reminds me of the idea like the better part of valor is walking away from a fight. And with that, the idea here is like if you walk away, you may have to be willing to forfeit something or give something up with that. So, that's a lot to say about that. But for me, this card can represent actively working through a problem to reach a solution or to resolve it. And so sometimes with the resolution of that problem, it's a matter of divorcing yourself from something, separating yourself from something, or walking away from it, right? And so with this is an interesting deck because there are little pictorial symbols in the middle of the card. So this one has the lion. So the lion can represent a couple of things. It could represent, like, having the strength to do that. So if you need to separate yourself from something, if you need to divorce yourself from something, then this could be a symbol or a sign that you have the strength to do that this week. The idea here too, like if you have to walk away from a situation, then the lion represents having the courage to do it. So there's about being strong enough and courageous enough to do it. Now the other thing about this card, sometimes the lion card can represent, pride, and so sometimes it may be a matter of you know what you need to do to solve it, but you may be too proud to do it. And so if that's the case, then you may want to take another look at that, because I'm seeing the idea in my head of, pride goeth before the fall. That's the phrase that just popped into my head. So you have to ask yourself, are you sticking with a situation that you know is not in your best and highest good because you're too proud to do something about it? It's just food for thought. So that is the 5 of spades as the central card. So now we'll take a look at the surrounding cards to see how they tell us more about this particular issue or concern. So the first card, okay, here we have the ace of spades. Then next to that, we have 6 of hearts, okay. Then on the other side, we have, oh, this is interesting, we have the ace of hearts, okay. And then rounding out the line, we have the 3 of hearts. So this is very interesting. The first thing that comes to me just looking at the line overall is that we have 3 cards from the suit of hearts. So when that happens, we call that ruling majority, or at least I do. I call it ruling majority. So here we have a situation where hearts can represent feelings, can represent emotions, and it can represent relationships. So that idea about divorce or separation may be really key or pivotal for someone this week, because divorce and separations usually take place within relationships of some kind. And that doesn't necessarily have to be a marital relationship. That could just be any kind of relationship. That could be, a family type situation, not just necessarily romantic partners or spouses, but any type of familial relationship, because hearts can represent home, family, that kind of thing. So there's that element to it. But it can represent, and if it's not like that, it could be a situation that's close to home. That's the phrase that just popped into my head. But for some people this week, it's going to be really taking a close look at your relationships, and maybe have you, outgrown situations with certain people, and now it's time to kind of walk away from those. But I'm seeing that. And with the lion card, with the lion being in the middle, remember, this is all about having the strength and the courage to do that. So for some people, this is going to be a big thing this week. Okay, so now going to the card on the far left, we have ace of spades. So now we have 2 spades. So now remember, 3 of the cards were from hearts. 2 of them are from spades. So this is about, maybe even emotional problems or challenges. Pairing the 2 suits could be, relationship problems and challenges. Again, pairing the 2 suits. But that could be the gist this week. But the ace of spades, as the first card, it can represent a problem that we're seeing going away. That's how I usually read a spades card when it's the first card in the line. So again, this could be just about working on a problem, and maybe it's a ongoing problem, but we're really doing some work on having it leave our lives. Finding it a way to exit that problematic situation. And here's how we can get that ball rolling. The ace of spades is all about the mind. So the first thing about creating change around anything is to make your mind up. This card is about making a decision, so this card is about like making up your mind that you're going to change it, right? So there's that. Now the interesting thing about this card has the picture of the lady. So if you're familiar with Lenormand, because Robert Place took symbols from Lenormand system, took symbols from the old Gypsy Witch card system, and the Whitman fortune-telling card systems, and added them to the cards. So this one is the lady. So for some people, if you're a woman watching this video, this could be you, and saying like you have to make your mind up in order to change a situation that has become problematic for you. Right, and especially because the lady card is facing to the right, so she's actually looking at all the other cards in the line, right? So this is what she's facing, right? This is what she has to see, or what's coming up in the future for her. So That's if you are a lady watching this video or a woman watching this video. If you are a man, then the woman card or the lady card would represent a woman who's playing a significant role in the situation for you. Right? So that is Ace of Spades. So the biggest thing for me, the Ace of Spades represents, you know, being faced with a decision and just making your mind up. Now, next card, Six of Hearts. The Six of Hearts for me is a card that can represent the past, memories, and nostalgia, right? So with the first card, it's about making your mind up about a problem that may be rooted in the past, right? So there's that. And it's about, like, what would you be willing to do? The six is about taking responsibility. So the first thing that you could do is take responsibility for your part in it. If other people are involved, then you would hope the most ideal situation would be that everybody assumes responsibility for their part. But that may not happen, right? So the only thing you can do is assume responsibility for your part. You know, the other thing here with hearts being about feelings and emotions, you know, you take responsibility for your feelings about it, right? If you're feeling a certain way about it, own how you feel, right? If you're needing to have maybe a difficult conversation with somebody, and instead of doing what I call the blame game, is saying, like, you make me feel this way, or I feel this way when you do this, take ownership of your feelings. You know, I said it with that last statement. You say, I feel this way when you do, but that's still, when you add the when you do part, you're blaming the other person, right? So you're saying, like, I can't control my emotions, that you have more sway over how I'm going to react and respond than I do, right? So you just say, I'm owning my feelings. If you're needing to have a difficult conversation this week, the Five of Spades could sometimes be about a difficult conversation, right? And with that, you have to say, are you willing to put all your cards out on the table, or are you going to choose to keep some information close to the vest? I'm seeing a different symbol in my head that's making me say that. So for some people, this could be a week where we lay out all the cards out on the table, and then for some, we're going to make the choice, but maybe it's in the best and highest good to not reveal or show our hand, right? But this is the week, regardless of, like, this is the week for some people may really be about no longer wanting to play head games with the spades. Head games, mind games, playing games, I'm done, right? And the only way to do that is to own how you feel about it. So, but I'm seeing, like, this is the week for some people about taking responsibility for their feelings, and taking a responsibility for if it's something rooted in the past, going back to the Ace of Spades being the first card. You know, if it's something rooted in the past, then take responsibility for your contribution to that. You know, and that's the way you start changing things, is when you take responsibility, because you can only control you, right? Then we have the star as the symbol in the middle of the card. So the star represents what's ideal. You know, an ideal or a goal. What's ideal? What's the goal? Like, if you're seeking on changing a problem, working a problem out, what's the goal? You know, and how can you best be served by taking action that's going to help you achieve that goal? So that is the Six of Hearts and the star. And as I'm saying that, as I put the card down, this is the other thing about the star. So if you're working with Lenormand, and you know that the stars can represent clarity, right? So it could be just like, you know, I'm getting the idea of, like, I want to clear the air. The star is an atmosphere card. So it's about, like, this is the week for some people about really just wanting to clear the air. You know, so I'm seeing that, you know, and for some people too, like, solving this problem or resolving this problem could be the very thing you need to kind of get you off in a new direction, because the stars is also about direction, you know, and navigating a new course. So I'm seeing that for some people this week as well. Now, next card over, on the other side of the Five of Spades, we have the Ace of Hearts. So now this is the card that makes me feel like this is about something that's close to home, right? Because the Ace of Hearts in particular can represent home-related issues, family-related issues. So if it's not that specifically, you know, if it's not an actual family-type situation, then this could be suggesting that it's a situation that's close to home, right? So there's that aspect of the Ace of Hearts. Now it has the gentleman on here. So we have the lady and the gentleman. For some people, it could be literally resolving a situation between you and your partner or spouse, right? Because we have the man and the woman cards here. So if you're a woman watching this video, it could be a man who's significant to you. If you're a man watching this video, then this could be you, and then, you know, the opposite card would be your partner or spouse. But it could be about working out a situation. And again, this could be going with the idea that I talked about divorce or separation. This could be someone actually taking the literal steps of divorcing from someone or separating from someone. So there's that. But it's this idea about something being close to home. And now, rounding out the line, we have the Three of Hearts. So now, here's the thing. That's a possibility for the person who may be divorcing or separating. The Three of Hearts is a card, when we're talking about relationships, this can be a card that can represent a love triangle. I'm just putting that out there. So it could be as a result of a third party. And it's very interesting because now if we go with the pairing of the cards, this is how they appeared in the line, right? So we're looking at the cards and we have the gentleman with the Three of Hearts, or the wine bottle, that's what this card is called, the wine bottle behind him, right? So it could be as a result of a love triangle from his past, it is now creating problems in his present and possibly his future. So there's that as a possibility. So, like I said, Three of Hearts can represent a love triangle. It can also represent something to celebrate. So it could be, if we go with the idea, if we're not making this about the divorce or separation slant for someone watching this video, then this card can be about celebrating the resolution of that problem, because this card represents celebrations, good times, things of that nature. So it could be at the end of the week, whatever it is that started off the week with the problem, you know, and it's very interesting. So the Ace of Spades was the first card, the beginning of the problem, or the origin of the problem. The Five of Spades in the middle card, as the middle card or the middle of the line, represents like the midpoint of the problem or the situation. And then we have this very positive card at the end, which represents the resolution of the problem. So I'm going to leave it at that. So if there is a problem this week, if you are really active on getting it, rolling up your sleeves, either literally or metaphorically, and getting in there and doing your work, it could just be a matter of clearing the air. And as a result of that, you clear the air and everything works out. But this card at the end of the line is a very good card. So on that note, I'm going to end and wrap up this week's Oracle Outlook. I'm James Himm Mitchell, and as I close, I'd like to thank you for sharing space here with me for this week's reading, and I look forward to sharing the same space with you again in our next video reading together. So until then, I'm wishing you a wonderful day, and I'm hoping that you have a wonderful week. Take care.